First Contact Fallout. The Nidran battlecruiser Inevitable Dominion hung in space like a vast obsidian blade, its surface rippling with energy as it maintained position above the decimated human settlement on Proxima Centauri. The Supreme Commander Zex Thalert stood on the observation deck, all six of his eyes narrowed in satisfaction as he watched the last human structures collapse under precision orbital strikes. Their resistance lasted precisely 8 standard cycles, reported Sub-Commander Vix, her exoskeleton clicking softly as she approached. Much longer than our simulations predicted. Zex Thaler's mandibles twitched in irritation. The Nidran Collective had conquered 17 spacefaring species across the galactic arm, and none had offered such persistent defense. These humans were supposed to be primitive, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 3 centuries ago. Casualties? He inquired, not taking his gaze from the viewport. 27 capital ships lost, 42 damaged beyond repair, and approximately 20,000 ground forces eliminated, Vix reported, her voice carefully modulated to hide concern. The humans utilized unconventional tactics. They converted mining equipment into weapons. Their civilian vessels conducted suicide runs. Even their scientists fought. Irrelevant, Zex Thaler dismissed with a wave of his upper limb. This colony is secured. We proceed to the next settlement according to protocol. There is something else, Supreme Commander. Vix hesitated. We captured their command center intact. The data architecture is unlike anything we've encountered, but our technicians managed to extract communication logs before the humans could purge them. This finally drew Zex Thaler's full attention. Show me. The holographic display materialized between them, showcasing intercepted transmissions between the colony and Earth. Zex Thaler read the decrypted messages with growing confusion. PROX, I animate outpost, under heavy assault from unknown hostiles, requesting immediate reinforcement. Earth Command, negative. Maintain defensive posture. Collect tactical data. Consider this a live-fire exercise for Recon Squad Epsilon. PROX, I may outpost. Clarify exercise. We have sustained 40% civilian casualties. Earth Command, unfortunate but acceptable for intelligence gathering. Do not reveal full defensive capabilities. Repeat, this is a tactical assessment operation. Zex Thaler's exoskeleton stiffened as the implications crystallized. They were holding back. This wasn't their primary military force. Intelligence suggests this colony was defended by what humans classify as a reconnaissance unit, Vix confirmed. A small detachment meant for information gathering rather than extended combat. The observation deck fell silent as Zex Thaler processed this revelation. 27 capital ships lost against a human scouting force. It defied strategic logic. There's more, Vix continued. We found this in their emergency protocols. The display shifted to show a simple message. PROX, I meant a compromise protocol. In event of colonial capture, activate Sleeping Giant Directive. What is this sleeping giant? Zex Thaler demanded. Unknown, Supreme Commander. But we detected a quantum entanglement burst transmitted toward Earth moments before we secured their communications array. It appears to have been some form of activation signal. Before Zex Thaler could respond, the tactical officer's voice came through the ship-wide communication system. Supreme Commander, we're detecting anomalous energy signatures from Earth's direction. Multiple FTL signatures, thousands of them. The main view screen shifted to show streams of light erupting from the direction of the Sol system. Not dozens of ships as would be expected from a defensive response, but thousands. The tactical display struggled to track the swarm of incoming vessels. Impossible, Zex Thaler whispered. Our intelligence indicated the humans possessed no more than 50 FTL-capable warships. A human transmission cut through the Nidran communication channels, overriding their encryption with disturbing ease. The face of an older human female appeared on screen, her expression devoid of fear or uncertainty. "This is Admiral Helena Vega of the Earth Defense Force. Your attack on our Proxima Centauri reconnaissance outpost has been classified as an act of war against humanity. You have encountered Echo Squadron, our forward reconnaissance unit. You will now face the full might of the human military." The transmission ended, leaving the command deck in stunned silence. "Recall our ground forces," Zexteller ordered, his voice hoarse. "Prepare for immediate withdrawal." The ground teams report they're being engaged by the human colonists. Vix responded, confusion evident in her tone. "The survivors we thought we had pacified are now mounting coordinated attacks using our own weapons." The tactical display updated to show skirmishes erupting across the colony surface. Humans who had appeared to surrender were now systematically targeting Nidran command posts. They had not only learned to operate seized Nidran weapons, but had already modified them to increase their lethality. "How quickly they adapt," Vix observed, a note of reluctant admiration in her voice. Zexteller felt something unfamiliar crawl along his spine. Fear. The Nidran Collective had never encountered a species that could learn and adapt with such frightening speed. If these were merely the capabilities of a reconnaissance team, what would their actual military bring to bear? "All vessels, defensive formation," he commanded. "Prepare for." The ship shuddered violently as the first wave of human warships emerged from FTL directly among the Nidran fleet. They weren't the crude, utilitarian vessels that had defended the colony. These were sleek, predatory machines of war, their hulls bristling with weapons systems that Nidran sensors couldn't even categorize. "They've analyzed our shield frequencies," the tactical officer reported, panic evident in his voice. "Their weapons are calibrated to bypass our defenses." Zexteller watched in horror as the first Nidran vessels began to fall. The humans weren't aiming to disable or capture. They were systematically destroying the invasion fleet. How? He demanded of no one in particular. How could they prepare so specifically for our technology? The answer came from an unexpected source. A human prisoner captured during the ground assault, now brought to the command deck for emergency questioning. The human male, despite injuries, wore an expression that could only be described as smug. "You're wondering how we adapted so quickly?" the human asked, not waiting for permission to speak. "Proxima Colony has been expecting first contact for decades. Every child learns xenobiology. Every adult trains in adaptive combat. You didn't find a peaceful settlement. You found humanity's first line of defense, designed specifically to gather intelligence on any hostile species we might encounter. You sacrifice your own people," Vix accused. The human's expression hardened. "We volunteered. Every colonist knew the risks and accepted them. We are the watchers on the wall, the first to see the coming storm." A massive explosion rocked the ship, sending crew members sprawling across the deck. "Direct hit to the primary reactor," a technician reported. "Containment failing. We have 10 minutes until catastrophic breach." Zexteller made his decision. "All forces, full retreat. We must warn the collective." As evacuation protocols initiated around him, Zexteller found himself face to face with the human prisoner. "Your species is unlike any we have encountered," he admitted. "You do not fight as others do." The human smiled grimly. "You should understand something before you go. What you encountered here, it wasn't even our military. Proxima is a civilian research outpost with basic defense training." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You haven't even met our soldiers yet." As the inevitable Dominion limped away from the battlefield, Zexteller stared at the tactical display, showing the human armada systematically dismantling his once proud fleet. The Nidran Collective had made a catastrophic error. They had judged humanity by their apparent technological development, not by their adaptive potential. And now, they would face the consequences of waking the sleeping giant. The counterattack. 6 lunar cycles after the disastrous first contact at Proxima Centauri, the Nidran High Council chamber on Homeworld, Nid Valor was in chaos. The holographic display dominating the center of the room showed real-time updates of human warships systematically dismantling Nidran defensive installations across 3 star systems. Supreme Commander Zex Thaler, now bearing the marks of disgrace on his exoskeleton, stood before the council, mandibles tight with restrained emotion. "How does their advance continue unabated?" demanded High Counselor Thexmora, her ancient carapace gleaming under the chamber lights. "We have deployed our entire 7th and 9th fleets to halt their progress. The humans do not engage in predictable patterns," Zex Thaler explained, having spent months studying their tactics. "They coordinate in ways we cannot anticipate. When we adapt to one strategy, they immediately shift to another. They fight as though they share a hive mind, yet each unit displays independent initiative beyond anything in our military doctrine." "And their technology?" asked another counselor. "It evolves daily," Zex Thaler admitted. "They have already incorporated elements of our shield harmonics and propulsion systems into their vessels. What took our engineers generations to perfect, they reverse engineer and improve upon in weeks." The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the gathered leaders. The Nidran Collective, dominant for 12 millennia, faced an existential threat from a species they had dismissed as primitive. "We have one advantage," Zex Thaler continued. "The humans appear to be concentrating on liberating the colonies we occupied rather than pressing toward our core systems. This suggests they may be open to negotiation." "Negotiation," scoffed Counselor Vexdare. "With primitives who should have been easily subjugated. Unthinkable." The chamber doors parted, and a Nidran intelligence officer hurried in, his gait betraying urgent news. "Counselors, we have intercepted and decoded a transmission from the human flagship to their homeworld. I believe you should see this immediately." The central hologram shifted to display a human military officer addressing someone off-screen. "Admiral Vega, the reconnaissance phase is complete. All colonial outposts are secured. The defensive capabilities of the Nidran forces have been thoroughly analyzed and cataloged. Requesting permission to deploy the actual combat fleet." The council chamber erupted in confused exclamations. "Combat fleet? What have we been facing if not their combat fleet?" demanded Thexmora. The intelligence officer's voice trembled as he explained. "Our analysis suggests that the human vessels we have encountered thus far are what they classify as rapid response units, essentially their equivalent of border patrol. Their transmission indicates they have yet to deploy their main military force." The hologram shifted again to show a vast construction facility in Earth orbit. Ships far larger and more imposing than anything the Nidrans had yet encountered waited in neat formation. There were hundreds of them, each bristling with weapon systems that dwarfed even the most powerful Nidran dreadnoughts. "This cannot be possible," whispered Vexdare. "No species could conceal such military capacity from our intelligence networks." "The humans have a saying," Zex Thaler said quietly. "They call it keeping your cards close to your chest." Their outward technological development was deliberately understated. They have been preparing for interstellar conflict since before they left their solar system. Before the council could respond, the communication system chimed with an incoming transmission on the council's private frequency. The hologram flickered, and the stern face of Admiral Helena Vega appeared before them. "Esteemed leaders of the Nidran Collective," she began without preamble, "I am authorized to inform you that the preliminary phase of our counteroffensive is now complete. We have thoroughly assessed your military capabilities, strategic doctrine, and technological limitations." The counselors looked at each other in shock. How had humans penetrated their most secure communication channel? "Until now," Admiral Vega continued, "you have faced what we classify as our expeditionary force, a rapid deployment unit designed for reconnaissance in force and preliminary engagement. They are neither our most advanced ships nor our most experienced personnel." The Admiral's image was replaced by a tactical display showing the location of Earth relative to Nidvalar, with a massive formation of ships moving between them. "This is the 3rd Fleet of the United Earth Defense Force, now en route to your core systems. They represent approximately 8% of our total military capacity. The display zoomed out further, revealing 7 more equally massive fleets positioned strategically throughout the region. Before you make your next decision, you should understand something about humanity. Vega's voice continued over the display. We evolved as persistence hunters on a death world, where your species developed through careful planning and gradual adaptation. We survived through relentless pursuit and improvisation. What you witnessed at Proxima Centauri wasn't our strength, it was our curiosity. You attacked a scientific outpost, not a military installation. The display returned to Admiral Vega's face. I am authorized to offer terms for immediate cessation of hostilities. This offer expires in 12 of your hours. Should you decline, you will face not our curiosity, but our wrath. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Can we verify these fleet positions? Vex Mora finally asked. The intelligence officer nodded grimly. Our long-range sensors have confirmed the presence of the formation they designate as Third Fleet. It is substantial. Zex Theller stepped forward. Counselors, I have studied human history since our first encounter. They have fought wars among themselves that would qualify as extinction-level events by our standards. Yet after each conflict, they emerge stronger, having incorporated the lessons learned. They do not think as we do. They do not seek perfect solutions through centuries of refinement. They embrace the chaos of rapid iteration. What are you suggesting? Demanded Vexdar. That we accept their terms, Zex Theller said simply. The alternative is to test whether their claims about their military capacity are truth or bluff. Given what we have seen of their technological adaptation rate, I believe it would be a costly gamble. As the council debated, Zex Theller's personal communication device vibrated with an encrypted message. The sender was unknown, but the content froze him to his core. Supreme Commander Zex Theller, this is Lieutenant Commander Rayner, Human Military Intelligence. Just a courtesy note. While your council deliberates, we have already infiltrated agents into all major Nidran military installations. We could have chosen destruction, but prefer cooperation. The collective has much to offer the galaxy. We hope your council chooses wisely. Attached was a real-time image taken from inside the council chamber, from a vantage point, directly above Zex Theller's head. Zex Theller looked up slowly, but saw nothing except the ornate ceiling of the ancient chamber. How had they achieved this level of infiltration? The implications were staggering. Counselors, he interrupted the heated debate, his voice unnaturally calm. I have received additional intelligence that I believe settles the matter. We must accept the human terms or face extinction. Hours later, as the formal communication accepting the human peace terms was transmitted, Zex Theller stood alone on the observation platform overlooking the capital city. A human delegation would arrive within days to formalize the agreement. His communication device chimed once more, another message from the mysterious Lieutenant Commander Rayner. You made the right choice, Commander. For what it's worth, most humans didn't want this war either. A final piece of intelligence as a show of good faith. What you faced wasn't even our recon team. Proxima Centauri was a civilian scientific outpost with basic defense training. The fleets you've encountered since were indeed our border patrol. Admiral Vega thought you should know the truth before negotiations begin. We look forward to a productive relationship between our species. Zex Theller stared at the message for a long time before finally allowing his mandibles to relax into what, for a Nidran, passed for a smile. The humans were terrifying in their capability, but they offered peace when they could have chosen annihilation. Perhaps there was hope for understanding between their kinds after all. As he watched the sun set over Nidvelar, Zex Theller could not help but wonder what might have happened if the collective had chosen a diplomatic first contact instead of invasion. He made a mental note to suggest a new addition to the Nidran tactical database. When encountering an unknown species, consider carefully whether poking the sleeping giant is worth the risk of waking it.